Hello, Stefano, and welcome to the FluentReads Growth Series. How are you doing today?
Hi, everything all right? Thanks. And you?
Good, good, good. Thanks. Okay, so before we start, how would you like to introduce yourself to the FluentReads community?
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. Um, I've been in training and consulting for more than 10 years now, and jumping for startup and corporate and different environment. So I really enjoyed the training part and the connection with people. And yes, I joined to read too.
Okay, perfect. All right, which leads me to my next question. Why do you like reading nonfiction books? What does it do for your personal and professional development?
Well, for me, it's mainly two things. I think in one, um, reading the environment that we are now, we have to update it and train ourselves um, without any choice because the world is moving so fast, and um, and English is the main language really for that for a fast and quick environment, and the first things are always in English. So for me, that I'm Italian, it is and was a good way to learn English and to learn English at a high level. So main two reasons, I think.
Okay, perfect. And how do you usually discover new books? By recommendations or you look online?
I'm well normally talk a lot with people that do that. I mean, they do this. So I try to be updated like that, and also LinkedIn channels that maybe I can use to update. And also I recently use also an app, Goodreads, to so I have some contact that pretty much think like I'm thinking. So I have this opportunity.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, so we're going to move into our book for today. So we're going to be talking about No Rules Rules by Reed Hastings and Aaron Meyer. So tell us a little bit about this book.
Yeah, I really had the opportunity to see the book like years ago for my ex CEO, and then like 1 year ago, I had the opportunity to do an interview with Netflix, so the first filter interview. So I read it really fast to be able to update myself to the culture and values and what they brought really. But already I got it in radar, and it's really interesting because Erin Meyer and Reed Hastings, the Netflix CEO, talking a lot about the possibility of, I mean, sharing really what they've done with Netflix. So the situation that they have and how they attack certain things and how they scale so fast, and it's really interesting because they're really transparent about it. So talking, there are a lot of examples. So it's really good because you can just, okay, they did it like that and in a real environment. And it's a really, I mean, interesting to see how they develop all the culture and values around that.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to lead into our three quotes and three takeaways from this book, and you'll go into a little bit more detail.
Sure.
Okay? All right. So your first quote we have here is lead with context, not control, and coaching your employees using such guidelines as don't seek to please your boss.
Yes, the lead with context, not control. It's something that really I lived it in the startup I was working before, and it's something that they share a lot. Like we're adults, so I'm gonna give you the context, and you're gonna choose, and you're gonna have to choose whatever you think it's better because I hired you for that, not for following instructions. So that's something that I think that startup really thought about this, think about this a lot more. But in general, they do it a lot. Netflix do it a lot, and also about don't seek to please your boss, is something that it's funny. And the main thing, main philosophy behind is I don't really care what my boss is thinking. If I think it's
Hmm.
a good idea, I'm going to share it. I'm going to defend it. I'm going to try to argument it. And if not, in the end, because they just prove me wrong, it's okay. But
Okay.
if I can, I'm going to try to defend it because I believe in it.
Okay, okay, great, great. That sounds like it could also be really important for, especially in startups, because there's so many things to do. It has to be agile in many ways, and that concept of micromanaging and trying to oversee what everyone is doing, it's not efficient, and sometimes it's basically impossible, especially when you're starting out.
Sure, and it's 100%, and it's really related with fear at the end, because I'm not gonna share if I fear to lose my job or to have a social different context because they're gonna argue in a bad way against me.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting for me.
Yes, definitely. Okay, let's move on to your second quote. Farm for dissent or socialize the idea. For a big idea, test it out as the informed captain. Make your bet. If it succeeds, celebrate. If it fails, sunshine it.
Yes, for me, this is really important because it touches two main points for them. One is I got an idea, I think it's good, but one human, so I'm gonna share it with a lot of people that I think could be stakeholders for the idea, or just people that I know that they're could be good feedback for that, and just test it out if before launching with people that I have around. And two, then if it goes well, celebrate it, like have the possibility to.
Hmm.
But if going wrong, it's a really huge learning opportunity. So sunshine it, like show it, and like a fuck up night, something like okay, I'm gonna show you this because I did this and this and this and was really bad. We lost 2 million, but I have to share it with you. It's important for them.
Okay, okay. Yeah, definitely. And it's a bit of, transparency in a way of by showing those vulnerabilities or those shortcomings some way, failures, it's a way to actually unite more than separate, essentially. Maybe sometimes the a common thought can be, well, I have to hide this. They don't need to know this because they're going to think we're incompetent or we're unable to do something, when in reality, it has the opposite effect.
Sure, and also it's related with the first one for the fear, because if I see my CEO that is sharing something really bad that he did and he lose money or whatever, then okay, it's something that we can do it here. So I'm gonna share myself tomorrow.
Definitely. Okay. All right. And your third quote is, but we had one thing that Blockbuster did not, a culture that valued people over process, emphasized innovation over efficiency, and had very few controls.
Yes, a little bit about the history of that. And Blockbuster, I mean Netflix tried to sell uh, the company to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster said no, and then they just erase the competence. Erase the competency with Netflix scale up. So and then in this industry, so streaming, filmmaking, and for them and this kind of industry, they saw, and it's right, that they're not like building cars that you have to follow a specific structure with specific audit, with specific um, like Ford like structured, because you need
Mm.
to have something that it's for them it's creative, so it's diversifying, is thinking about how reaching specific outcome, but not a structured outcome, because they have to buy shows, do make shows, and try to follow the right lines for marketing. So in this case, they prefer people than processes. They prefer creation in general for new ideas and not following the instruction of one illuminated manager. And that's something that really do it with in this way. So I think it's super important for their industry to be able to be like that.
Okay, great. That's it's interesting you bring that up because I think that's a lesson learned. You know, every company, fears of becoming a blockbuster essentially because you have this essentially a monopoly. And the crazy thing is, this company, this new innovative company offers to sell, and it ends up essentially being directly related to your demise and the company closing in the future, and having kind of a fixed mindset of saying, well, we don't have to worry about everything. We already have a monopoly. We have stores in almost every country, etc. And it just goes to show you how you have to constantly innovate. You can't be complacent essentially and say, okay, we're good, we dominate the market, everything's okay.
I think that now it's really complex to do that because I mean you don't have you have a lot of environment, a lot of context where you cannot just stay there and like, hey, I'm gonna be okay for the next 5 years, 10 years, because um, see, copy and paste and forecast things and venture capitalists. You have really fast something that it could be the same and or better and just eat you alive.
Yes, definitely. Okay, we're going to move on to your three takeaways. Your first takeaway is open and honest communication and F&R.
Yeah, I love that one because well, open and honest communication. Speak for yourself. But the fact is, they just share whatever they think, and that's something huge, really, if you think about it, for a company, because normally you don't. But for this FNR that they have, like this FNR, it's freedom and responsibility, and having this possibility to just okay, I'm gonna give you freedom. You're a professional, so I'm gonna give you this like um, opportunity to impact in Netflix, and so you have the freedom, but you have the responsibility to bring us some good results. So it said like okay, what's the culture and main objective for Netflix, because I'm gonna share with you, and just go and make the best decision for them. They did an example that is good. For example, for like a person, a junior that got 6 months in the job, and for some, they the next day they had a big VIP coming, and the night before they check everything, the big screen that they need and everything that they need to be able to do the interview, or I don't remember, and it wasn't working. So he decided to buy a really expensive big screen for like they send it right away, so big, expensive, really big, not approved, because they don't need approbation. It's like, if you think it's good for Netflix, just buy it. And they spend a lot, really a lot. But then that interview was really important for them, so they forecast, and was really a good decision. But no companies have done that, because it's really like spending 2 million in one night without approval. It's like, okay, but I think it's good for Netflix, because tomorrow got a big interview, so I'm gonna do it.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Okay. All right. Moving on to your second takeaway. The keeper test. Netflix has a philosophy of only keeping employees who are truly exceptional and letting go of those who do not meet companies' high performance expectations. This approach ensures that the company maintains a high bar for talent.
Yes, they only want high performing people. So they do that. They, with the managers, they just inform them that every once in a while you have to do the keeper test. So thinking, if this person tomorrow is gonna tell me that he wants to go, she wants to go to another job, I'm gonna be worried. I'm gonna be preoccupied. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be
Hmm.
how I'm gonna feel if this is happening.
Yes.
So if I'm not gonna be worried or really, really worrying about the job that we're gonna do because he or she is gonna go, she has to go now because
Hmm.
it's. I only need people. I only want people that she should stay here, and I want it here. If it's not the best person for the role, get another one.
Interesting. I imagine there could be some pushback on this in terms of like creating I guess the company culture and the intensity in a way, kind of like you can always be called into the office or etc. because you simply didn't make the cut. But in the same token, you're kind of promised to be working with exceptional colleagues in a way who are great at what they do. So I guess it's kind of a
Yeah,
balance in a way.
I mean it's US. It's US,
Yeah.
so makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, but yes, it's related to the other point takeaway that I have.
Okay. All right. And your last one is if every company is going to work only with the high performers, a big percentage of the workforce is not going to have a job.
Yeah, that's really what we were talking about, right? I mean, I enjoy the second takeaway, like, hey, it's good for them, but it's like, okay, if the high performing people, it's 15%, 10% by definition, because it's like that. The curve, it's
Hmm?
Gaussian. So if really all the companies are going to follow this Netflix leading culture, only 15% top of the people are going to work. And you can't do that, really. And then I think also that performance, it's not the only thing really to evaluate
Hmm.
because you got other stuff that are important. You can see in a different environment. So I think it's pretty aggressive as a philosophy. I don't know, and I work with people that were not high performance by itself, but it's not the only point. So I don't know. It's I think it's complex to like horizontally take it. Like, hey, it's a good way, yes, but the culture of fear that you can create with that, just you will mention it,
Hmm.
could be worse maybe.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. It's like striking a balance, meaning that I guess what I get from what you're saying is establish what the role needs, and obviously there's a range. There's like kind of like a spectrum, meaning that in order to carry out this task, you don't necessarily need to be the best performer, etc. There is you can I mean without a negative connotation, you can be average and you can do the job well. You understand what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have this concept of I'm the best of the best. I'm the best in Europe. You understand what I mean? It doesn't
Oh, yeah, yeah,
necessarily mean that. Yeah, it
exactly.
doesn't
If
necessarily mean that.
really having a people that is doing the job 100%
Hmm.
goal, it's okay.
Hmm.
It's bad, or it's a bad
Yes,
definition
yes,
of
yes.
the goal, maybe.
Exactly. And also, you have to take into consideration what you're talking about when we talk about company culture is, okay, this person is exceptional at their job, but are they a good person? Are they are they a good fit for the culture? Maybe they have a terrible personality, and because of that, there's kind of like this intense, friction within the company. So, taking it more from, I guess, a holistic point of view, it's important to say, okay, check hard skill, you can do this very well, but as a person, are you a great fit for that? And yeah, I think it's an interesting perspective that should be taken into account.
It's interesting to have it in mind and
Yes.
just consider it like a variable, I think.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so this book definitely provided some great insights coming from one of the most, one of the biggest, which started as a startup and now is a, full-fledged company, Netflix. Who would you recommend this book to and why?
Um, Startup CEOs,
Okay.
because you get a lot of valid points that you can really bring to the game in, well, next day. So you can just use it and give you a whole perspective on what you could do because they did it. And I think could be managers in startup or a VP had like people that could uh, have some impact on that. And I think it would be interesting to know the feedback on this on some people that are really corporate. I mean, no startup at all, to be able to, hey, it could be something interesting to consider or think about it. So I think, well, it's interesting because it's a practical book, so it's good to have.
Okay, all right, perfect. Well, thank you very much, Stefano, for sharing this deep dive of No Rules Rules, the story of Netflix. So, thank you very much for your contribution and your insights for the Fluent Reads community.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Appreciate it, and it was really interesting to be able to talk about it more in detail. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, all right, perfect.